What if the pill you've been told is safe, convenient, and liberating is actually doing more harm than good? What if you discovered that behind its shiny promise of freedom lies a hidden world of side effects, long-term consequences, and underreported truths? Birth control pills have shaped women's lives for over 60 years, yet many are still in the dark about how deeply they can impact the body, mind, and hormones. Doctors often focus on the benefits, but skip over the risks. It's time to unveil the truth, not to scare you, but to empower you with knowledge that could change your health, your decisions, and your life. This is not just about birth control. It's about your body, your hormones, and your right to full transparency. A revolution in a pill. But at what cost? When the birth control pill was introduced in the 1960s, it was hailed as one of the greatest medical breakthroughs in modern history. And it was. For the first time, women could control their reproductive lives with a daily pill. It triggered a seismic shift in society, from the feminist movement to workplace equality. The pill gave women freedom, choice, and a sense of control that had been denied for generations. Today, more than 100 million women worldwide use hormonal contraception, and the birth control pill remains one of the most commonly prescribed medications. But in the race to celebrate its benefits, something important got lost: the truth about what it actually does to the body, especially over the long term. If you're a woman watching this right now, there's a good chance you've either been on the pill, been told to go on it, or felt like it was your only option for solving hormonal symptoms, skin problems, painful periods, or irregular cycles. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most women are never fully informed about how the pill works, what it suppresses, what side effects it carries, or what long-term consequences it may have on fertility, mood, metabolism, and cardiovascular health. What most doctors say, and what they leave out. In the average 15-minute consultation, a doctor may say the pill will regulate your period, clear up your acne, ease PMS, or help you avoid pregnancy. You're told it's safe, effective, and no big deal. But how often do they mention that the period you get on the pill isn't a real period, but a withdrawal bleed? That hormonal birth control can deplete your body of key nutrients. That some women develop depression, panic attacks, or lose their libido entirely. That stopping the pill can cause rebound symptoms, sometimes worse than what you started with. The reality is that most women are not given a full picture, not because doctors don't care, but because the system they work in doesn't require or incentivize that level of transparency. More than just birth control, the pill as a band-aid. Today, hormonal birth control is handed out like a multi-purpose fix for nearly every hormonal issue a woman might face. Irregular periods. Take the pill. Heavy bleeding. Take the pill. Cramps, PCOS, endometriosis, acne. Take the pill. It's become a default solution, often without exploring or addressing the root cause of the problem. But here's what they don't tell you. The pill doesn't regulate your hormones. It shuts them down. It replaces your body's natural cycle with a synthetic one, masking symptoms rather than resolving them. The illusion of a normal cycle on the pill is just that, an illusion. This isn't just a medical issue, it's a cultural one. We've been trained to accept hormonal birth control as a rite of passage, a modern necessity, or even a symbol of empowerment. But how empowering is it really if the full truth is withheld? The silence around side effects. One of the most common complaints from women on the pill is that they feel off emotionally, physically, or mentally. But because these effects are rarely discussed up front, many women blame themselves or fail to connect the dots between their birth control and their symptoms. Mood swings, anxiety, migraines, weight gain, low libido, digestive issues, all can be linked to the hormonal suppression caused by the pill. And while these are listed as possible side effects on the package insert, they're rarely emphasized during consultations. Worse, when women report these symptoms, they're often dismissed, told it's just stress, or even prescribed antidepressants on top of birth control. It's a dangerous cycle of treating symptoms with more medication without investigating the underlying causes. The medical blind spot. There's also a significant gap in research and education when it comes to women's hormonal health. Despite the widespread use of hormonal contraceptives, long-term studies on their impact on brain function, fertility, and hormone health are surprisingly limited. Pharmaceutical companies often fund the studies that promote safety, while independent research raising concerns gets buried or ignored. Meanwhile, doctors receive very little training in alternative hormonal therapies or natural fertility methods. Most rely on the pharmaceutical playbook, not because they're malicious, but because that's what they're taught. As a result, informed consent suffers, and women are left without a complete picture. A generation of women in the dark. This matters because millions of women are making deeply personal health decisions based on partial information. Many go on the pill as teenagers and stay on it for 5, 10, or even 20 years without fully understanding how it alters their hormones, affects their mental health, or impacts future fertility. Some try to get pregnant after stopping the pill, only to discover that their cycles don't return, or underlying issues like PCOS or thyroid dysfunction were never addressed in the first place. Others suffer from gut issues, chronic fatigue, or anxiety disorders that seem unrelated but trace back to hormonal disruption. This isn't just about birth control, it's about informed consent, about hormonal literacy, about women being trusted with the full truth so they can make choices that align with their health, goals, and values. The mission of this series isn't about shaming those who take the pill. It's not about fear-mongering or rejecting science. It's about giving you the facts you were never told so that you can make truly informed choices. You deserve to know how the pill works, what it affects, and what your alternatives are. You deserve more than a one-size-fits-all prescription. You deserve to understand your cycle, not be disconnected from it. Most importantly, you deserve a system that respects your body and tells you the truth. How birth control pills actually work, the basics. What the pill is designed to do. The primary function of the birth control pill is simple in theory: prevent pregnancy. But the way it accomplishes this is anything but natural. The most commonly used oral contraceptives contain synthetic versions of the female sex hormones estrogen and progesterone, specifically synthetic forms called ethinyl estradiol and progestins. These hormones trick your body into thinking it's already pregnant, thereby shutting down the biological processes required to ovulate. No ovulation equals no egg equals no pregnancy. But this hormonal suppression affects much more than just ovulation. It alters your entire endocrine system, disrupting the very rhythm that keeps your reproductive, immune, metabolic, and emotional systems in balance. Let's break down how this works. The natural menstrual cycle versus the pill cycle. Your natural menstrual cycle is a dynamic hormonal dance that plays out over roughly 28 days. Days 1 to 14 follicular phase. Estrogen rises, prompting the growth of follicles in the ovaries. Eventually, one becomes dominant. Around day 14 ovulation, a spike in luteinizing hormone LH triggers the release of an egg. Days 15 to 28 luteal phase. Progesterone rises to prepare the uterine lining for implantation. If no pregnancy occurs, hormone levels drop and menstruation begins. Now here's what happens on the pill. There is no ovulation. Synthetic hormones flatline your body's natural hormonal fluctuations. Your body is placed in a hormonal pause mode, where real estrogen and progesterone production are suppressed. The period you get while on the pill isn't a real period, it's a withdrawal bleed, triggered by taking placebo sugar pills during the final week of your cycle. This manufactured cycle is an illusion. It was designed in the 1960s to mimic a normal period only to make the pill more socially acceptable, not because it was medically necessary. Synthetic hormones, not the same as your body's own. One of the biggest misconceptions is that synthetic hormones are simply substitutes for your body's natural estrogen and progesterone, but they're not identical. Synthetic versions are chemically modified to be patentable and have different effects on your body. For example, ethinyl estradiol is a synthetic estrogen that stays in your system longer and binds more strongly to estrogen receptors than natural estradiol. Progestins, the synthetic form of progesterone, vary widely, and many of them act more like testosterone or cortisol than like real progesterone. Natural progesterone has calming, anti-inflammatory effects and supports mood, sleep, and brain function. Progestins, by contrast, can cause mood, acne, and even insulin resistance depending on the formulation. Yet, in most doctor visits, no one tells women the difference. All of this is bundled under the word hormones as if synthetic and natural were interchangeable. They're not. How the pill impacts the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian HPO axis. Your menstrual cycle is governed by a finely tuned hormonal feedback loop called the HPO axis, or communication system between your brain hypothalamus and pituitary gland and your ovaries. This axis regulates hormone production, ovulation, and menstruation. When you take hormonal birth control, this axis is shut down. The synthetic hormones interrupt communication between your brain and ovaries, telling your body, "Don't bother producing hormones, we've got it covered." This creates an unnatural hormonal environment, one your body would only naturally experience in pregnancy, postpartum, or menopause. Yet many women remain in this hormonally suppressed state for decades. The pill's multi-layered effects on your body. Here's what else the pill does, intentionally or not. Suppresses ovulation. No egg, no pregnancy. Just about reproduction. It's the only way your body naturally produces progesterone. Own health, mood, metabolism, and more. Thickens cervical mucus. Makes it harder for sperm to enter the uterus. Thins uterine lining. Reduces the chance of implantation. Disrupts hormonal rhythm. Natural estrogen and progesterone rise and fall throughout your cycle, triggering changes in mood, energy, metabolism, and libido. The pill flattens this rhythm, alters gut and liver function. Synthetic hormones pass through the liver, affecting how your body processes cholesterol, insulin, and even certain medications. Affects brain chemistry. Hormones are brain-active compounds. Suppressing natural ones and replacing them with synthetics changes neurotransmitter activity, including serotonin, dopamine, and GABA levels. Different types of pills, same core mechanism. Not all pills are created equal, but they all suppress ovulation in some way. The main types include combined oral contraceptives (COCs), contain both estrogen and progestin. Progestin-only pills mini-pill, often used for breastfeeding women or those who can't tolerate estrogen. These rely more on thickening cervical mucus and altering the uterine lining, and may not fully suppress ovulation. Newer formulations may have lower doses, extended cycles, or even continuous use to eliminate periods entirely, but they still work by overriding your body's natural hormone production. Long-term suppression. What's the cost? While the pill is marketed as a short-term solution, many women stay on it for years, even decades. This long-term hormonal suppression can lead to resilience. Your body becomes dependent on synthetic input. Nutrient depletion. B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, reduced libido and sexual dysfunction. Changes in partner attraction and sexual preferences. Loss of body literacy. Women forget what it feels like to have a natural cycle. And perhaps most don't know what their cycle would be like without the pill. They don't know whether they actually have a hormone imbalance because the pill masks it all. So, what's the point of this knowledge? Understanding how the pill works is the foundation for making informed choices about your health. This isn't about demonizing the pill, it's about recognizing that It's a powerful pharmaceutical that alters core biological systems. It does more than just prevent pregnancy, it changes how your entire body functions. Daily for years, you deserve to know exactly what it does and what your options are. The known and unknown side effects. Some women go on the pill to clear up acne, and for some, it works. But for others, especially after stopping, the results can be the opposite. So what should you take away from this? The birth control pill is a powerful pharmaceutical tool, and it comes with a long list of potential side effects that are too often minimized. This doesn't mean the pill is evil or should never be used, but it does mean it should be prescribed with informed consent, not blind trust. Women should be screened for risks, monitored for reactions, and offered alternatives. Your body is not broken. If you're experiencing symptoms, they deserve to be investigated, not suppressed with synthetic hormones.